So if you're buying investment property within the area, you might wonder, what does the closing process look like and who handles it? We're going to talk about that today. So first of all, understand that a closing process on any property is going to look really different depending on what state you're in. So I'm in Pennsylvania and in Maryland, and typically in those states, thankfully, our closing process is fairly expedited. So whenever you purchase a property, you do have to get a title check to make sure you're legally buying the property, and generally title insurance. So title insurance is always required if you're getting a loan on the property. So that's a pretty standard part of the closing process. And typically the company that is doing the search for the property's history and legal ownership, they will conduct the closing and issue the title insurance. Now, that cost is actually regulated at the state level, so it's the same whether you go to an attorney's office or just a title company and wherever it may be. So there's usually not shopping around, it's just one set price. Hell, it's not a monopoly, I don't know, but that's a different story. But you pay the same price everywhere, and they offer as part of the cost of the title insurance the service of conducting the closing. So that means they typically take the money from the lender when the loan is made, they collect all the money from all the parties involved, they get their contact information, they provide a clear title to the property, they prepare a new deed, and then everyone on closing day sits down, signs all the papers, and the title company disperses all the money and pays it out. So some of the things that they're typically doing is contacting the local tax assessor's office, making sure that the taxes, if they're not paid, are collected at settlement so that the new owner doesn't get surprised with a tax bill that's not paid. They're usually checking through the past history of the property. They'll record a satisfaction piece for that mortgage. And as they go through that process, they're making sure that anything that's lienable, so sometimes public utilities, if they're owned by the municipality, they could put a lien on the property if they're not paid. So anything that's lienable is paid at settlement on a prorated basis, so that that new owner has full and clear title without any encumbrances when they go forward. So typically, there's going to be a notary that's needed for documents like a deed that have to be notarized, that yes, this person is who they say they are when they're signing it. And that's a service that, again, is provided by the title company when they do the closing. Now, oftentimes there's owners that are out of state, so it's very common that the title company might prepare a package of all the papers needed to be signed by the buyer or the seller, whichever one it is, mail it out, but when they get the package, they have to go in front of a notary to sign them because, again, they got to verify they are who they say they are, send it back to the title company, who's then dispersing the money in between the different parties that need to be paid, both the buyer and the seller, but as well as the taxes that were collected and the other lienable items and so forth, that everything that gets paid out by that title company. Now, sometimes it could be done virtually, and this is still a newer thing for some municipalities, but some states will allow for a virtual signing, meaning the person who is either buying or selling could appear on screen with a notary on the other side who verifies their identity by seeing them on the screen, verify their driver's license, and then they can digitally notarize the document. And when that's done, then that gets sent to the local county to be recorded. Now, some counties have the technology to receive a digital notary and others do not yet. So even though it might be permissible under a state law, sometimes it's not always standard practice in every county to be able to accept a digital notary. So just know that the technology to do a digital signing is coming, but sometimes it just takes a while for it to catch up. So I think the future will be digital signings and digital closings in the real estate world, but for now, we're still mostly in person, and that usually happens with the title company. So that's a summary of what usually happens with a closing. I hope this video brought you some value. If so, please follow along with us and reach out to us if you're looking for real estate in Pennsylvania or Maryland.